Is March 17th. It is approximately 6:31 p.m. and we will begin the Murray City Planning Commission meeting. I want to introduce the planning commissioners. We have Jake Pearson to my left, Travis Ney and Lisa Milkevich, Marion Patterson, Michael Richards, and Ned Hacker are all in attendance. I'd like to ask any cell phones that anyone has to please silence them. If you need to take a phone call, please do so in the hall. If you haven't received the agenda, I'll review quickly. We're going to review the minutes of the previous meeting, talk about any conflicts of interest, and review the findings of fact, and submit for approval. Follow that, we have item number 4, which is Dirty Devil Disposal. Number 5 is Fernandez Services LLC. Number 6 is Erickson Place Subdivision Amendment, and number 7 is Ridge Creek Subdivision Amendment. Like to state that this meeting is being recorded and all comments are on record. The meeting can be live streamed at www.murraycitylive.com and also on Facebook at facebook.com/Murray City, Utah. And there will be a time for public comment once the applicant has had an opportunity to come and present their request. When you do speak and as public comment, or if you're the applicant, we ask that you please come to the podium over to my right on the north wall to speak clearly in the microphone. Even if you don't hear it over the PA system, the camera is picking it up and it's available for those that are watching via live stream. Please direct any comments to the chair of the commission, not to the audience, or if you're a member of the public, to the applicant. We'd ask that you state your name and your address, and we ask if it's public comment to limit your comment time to 3 minutes. So with that, we will move on to our approval of minutes. Has the commission had the opportunity to review the minutes?
Yes.
Are there any changes that you would request? Very good. We will open to a motion to approve the minutes then. Commissioner Hackett.
Mr. Chairman, I make motion that we approve the Planning Commission meeting minutes from Thursday, March 3rd, 2022 as written, and
Very good. We have a motion by Commissioner Hackett to approve the minutes from Thursday, March 3rd, 2022. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Very well. Commissioner Milkevich has seconded the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes. With that, we will also review any conflicts of interest. I'm going to have a conflict with applicant with number 4 and number 6. I know both of them very personally, and so I will abstain. Are there any other conflicts of interest?
No.
Okay, very good. Beyond that, we'll move on to the approval of findings of fact. Have all commissioners had the opportunity to review?
yes.
Are there any changes? Okay, we'll entertain a motion to approve then.
I guess we don't need okay, no. We're
Okay,
good.
and I apologize. The finding of facts from the Planning Commission meeting March 3rd, 2022. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion
Okay,
that the Planning Commission approve the findings of facts for the project AK Granite and Come and Go gas station and convenience store.
very good. There was a motion by Commissioner Pearson to approve the findings of fact for the Planning Commission meeting March 3rd, 2022 for Come and Go gas station and AK Granite. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Very well. We have a second. Is there all those who have all in favor say aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. All right. With that, we have moved on from our business items into 2 conditional use permits. The first is our item number 4, which is Dirty Devil Disposal, and this will be presented by staff. I want to apologize to the applicant and making him come down twice. He came last to our last meeting. Unfortunately, we wouldn't have a quorum because I wasn't able to vote. So thank you for coming again.
So the first item is a conditional use for dumpster storage at the address here, 4540 South 200 West. The applicant is seeking conditional use just to be able to store his dumpsters in this parking lot you could see here outlined in blue. Um, so basically, these are just big dumpsters that are used kind of, from what I understand, at construction sites. This property here would just be used to store them overnight, and also a couple trucks that are used to carry the trailers to locations. But they are, like, the trash in it is disposed of elsewhere. It's not going to be here. This address is in the MG zone, so it's kind of an industrial area. This proposed use fits the character of what's there already. One of the conditions that we're recommending is the updating of the landscape. This is an older property, so the landscaping laws might have been different back at the time, but it's not in compliance with current city code. And I just included some pictures here on the side to show the current state of the landscaping. So city staff is recommending approval with these conditions that are included in the staff report. Being that he gets a business license, operates at the specified hours, and that he improves the landscaping to come into compliance with current city code.
Thank you for your presentation, Seth.
Mhm.
Are there any questions from the council for staff? The commission, I'm sorry, the commission staff. Great, thank you very much. The applicant, I believe, is present. Would you like to come and make a presentation? Awesome. If you'll please remember to state your name and your address, that would be great.
My name is Lon Hinckley, and my address is 4471 Camille Street in Holiday, 84124. Don Otley's here, who's the owner of the property that I'm renting from, and he's just here to listen and see what we're talking about. And since it's his landscape, we need him to have some input, perhaps. Since there's no other discussion except the landscape, I can ask a couple of questions or clarifications of whoever's in charge of that. Perhaps this young man right here. I don't know who listens to my question.
Go ahead and present it to the commission, and staff will be happy to reply.
Okay. Those pictures are done in the winter when there's no leaves on the trees and bushes. It's pretty nice in the summer. The trees make a good fence and they look pretty good, and there's more trees there than you require for landscaping by the Murray plan. And there's more shrubs there by the Murray plan. So I'm not sure if we're to cut the things out we have. And also, is this to be outside the fence between the property and the street? Or is this to be inside our fence? Can somebody help us with that?
You bet. We'll be happy to answer that in a moment. Are there any questions from the commission for the applicant?
So I have questions about the containers, but I'm not sure if this is the best time or if I should wait and ask staff or we should discuss it after the presentation. Any guidance on that? Just dive into it?
I recommend diving into it. Yeah. I'd ask
Okay.
them.
So the only one question we had was, or maybe I had, was the containers. The code for that zone is that there's not supposed to be any waste stored on the property, so the containers just need to make sure they're empty when they're there. Is that,
That's true.
that's easy? Okay, so you can comply with that and there aren't any problems?
Yeah.
So then we'll discuss it, but maybe we'll add a condition making sure that's clear.
It could be reasonable.
All right, that's all I had.
Are
Thank
there
you.
any other questions? Okay, well, it sounds like we need to have a bit of a discussion, and we'll allow staff to answer your question about the landscaping. You've seen the requirements from staff, and a potential additional one that any refuge would be removed from the containers. Assuming that, would you be able to comply with these conditions?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you very much. And Seth, we'll let you answer Mr. Hinckley's questions. Yep.
To answer your question, the requirement is it just requires a certain amount of 1 gallon shrubs, 5 gallon shrubs, and trees for every 100 foot of frontage. So that specific requirement is 7 trees, 11 5-gallon shrubs, and 21 1-gallon shrubs per 100 feet of frontage. And the property has 230 feet of frontage, so that's where that requirement came from. It's not just if it looks nice or anything like that. That's where we got the specific requirement from.
Understood.
And then as far as where it needs to be placed, there is a 10-foot buffer area right outside the street that is supposed to be dedicated for landscaping. Yeah, that's
So,
Does that answer your question, Mr. Hinckley? Did that answer your question?
Yes, but yes and no. So it's unclear to me, again, what you said. Is this outside the fence that needs to be landscaped or inside the fence? Well, you've had it on your map up there.
Yeah, we can have a look at it. It appears that
Yeah, go back the other way.
And Mr. Ria, I'd want to follow up that question with if any of the existing shrubbery would qualify for any of those qualification needs.
So it is that part it's from the property line where we measure that 10, and that'll be the right-of-way line in this case. So we can figure out where that is, working with the property owners and with our engineering department, et cetera. And then, like Susan and Seth were just saying, we're not in the business of getting rid of mature trees that are doing good. So if there are trees there that are worth saving, can be pruned and can be part of that number, absolutely. We'll work. Our condition is for you to work with staff to develop a landscaping plan that meets our code. And that might not mean that you have to put all of them in that we've numbered. We're just giving the absolute number. We'll work at what can be kept and what can count toward it and add whatever's necessary.
Somebody come and meet with us and we
Yeah,
talk about
absolutely.
it. It's great with us.
Seth will do it. He'll love it. Great.
all right.
Okay.
So you can comply with the conditions then?
I don't have any other questions.
Great. And you can comply with the conditions that were stated? Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions for the applicant? Okay.
Do
Any
we leave?
You can have a seat if you'd like. Yes.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Well, you may want to hang on. We have to have a motion and vote. So, all right. Does the commission have any discussion around this application?
I do have a question. I know we need to talk about your thing, Lisa, but my question regarding I'm going back to the landscaping here. So the code is telling us that they need 11 5-gallon shrubs. And this property, I mean, if you look at it, it's got a big mass of shrubbery. And so how do we determine if that's, 11 5-gallon shrubs? How does that work? Could someone speak to that?
I've let Seth do it, but he's never done it. So on properties like this, it's kind of tough. But we would go in and assume that the big ones are counting as 5-gallon shrubs. What you're going to wind up seeing, and any 5-gallon shrub can count for a 1-gallon shrub too, right? It's not like you have to have little shrubs too. If you're required 10 5-gallon shrubs and 5 1-gallon shrubs, and you have 30 5-gallon shrubs, you met your requirement. We don't care. So we'll go out and try to make sure that it's meeting that intent of that code, that there be shrubs and there be trees and that they be healthy and large enough to cover a basic area there. That doesn't have to be lawn. There can be xeriscaping and just some ground cover and that kind of thing. But the code's pretty flexible except for those big numbers. And other than trees not counting for the shrubs, we want to have a mix of shrubs and trees. We don't worry too much about it. So we'll go out and look at all those shrubs. And if they're healthy and taken care of and they can count toward it, we'll let them count.
Okay, so in the case of this property where there's like a 40-foot section of just plants, right? There's no delineation between the plants.
Right.
Would you just go, okay, this is about 10 shrubs, or how does that work?
You can usually, if you get right down in there and they're pruned and stuff, you can start
I
counting.
see. Okay.
So what's really lacking, we won't be able to tell until it's been cared for a little bit.
Okay.
But in the spring now, it can be cared for a little bit and we can start counting actual plants.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
thanks.
And we don't have,
Oh yeah, I apologize. We still open for public comment. Yeah, but just one moment.
Jerry, can I just, one more question of clarification there. We don't have a list of what qualifies as our 5-gallon or a 1-gallon, just that it's a 5-gallon, right?
No, the code, when that 17.68 was written, it was selfishly written for new landscaping going in, when you can know what's 5-gallon and what's 1-gallon. And we have to kind of make determinations after the fact. I got to do this on the Garco property. That was fun. Figuring out what was probably 5-gallon when it was planted, what was 1-gallon. But it
Well,
can be
and
done.
sometimes weeds can grow big and look like
Yeah, and they can look
5-gallon.
like, and there'll be stuff that needs to be removed. There'll be stuff that won't count. But we don't have, the code's not super fussy about what kinds of things count. We'd like them to be drought tolerant. I'm sure they would too. Then it's easier to irrigate, et cetera. So, but we're not going to dictate too much of that.
Any other questions? If not, I think it'd be a great time to open up public comment. If there's any public comment, please come to the microphone again. Remember to state your name and your address.
I'm Donald Otley. Address is 2682 Montsur Drive in Riverton, Utah 84065. So our business, Otley Floor Company, has been at this property for about the past 50 years. And we own both pieces of property. The property is actually owned by Otley Development Company, LLC. So, and I'm one of the managers of that as well. So, you know, so this property has existed. We've been here in Murray at this location doing business for the past 50 years plus. So, anyhow, a couple of things I wanted to just share with you real quick. As far as the landscaping goes, the trees that you see there are extremely healthy. We actually cut those back to nothing last summer. By fall, we had full growth. What you see standing there in that picture that you see currently is growth from just last summer, and it grew to a massive. And I don't know if we can bring up that picture again of the property, the aerial picture. Okay, so that's the growth right now, and we seriously trimmed that all back to nothing last summer. So these guys are just they're extremely healthy. But if we can go back to that other aerial of the property right there, if I was looking correctly, you can see those trees in green right there along the front. And I measured it from the south corner of that property, you know, for what we're talking about with Lon's project. From the south end of that property, there's a fence. And so you take out that gate and it leaves about 75 feet from the north side of our gate to the corner of the property that we're talking about. So that's kind of the distance that we're talking about as far as landscaping. But what I wanted to show you is on that, you can see the green, you can see the greenery. So, you know, they're a little bit of an issue to keep those pruned back and looking good, but I think we very much could do that. So
Great.
I don't know if that's helpful at all with our
Very much so.
landscaping issues, but, and just as a note, Lon's been leasing our property, running his business here for a little while now. And he operates a very clean operation. As he's told you, the dumpsters when and if they're there are empty. And he keeps a very, you know, we've been able to keep that yard, you know, well trimmed and clean, and his operation has been great. So
Thank you, Marcel. I appreciate it. Are there any additional public comments on this matter? Seth, are there any that have come in via email or electronically? Okay. Does the commission have any additional discussion they'd like to have about this application? If not, we can entertain a motion.
I'd like,
Do you want to close the public
Oh,
comment?
yes, I apologize. Yes, I do want to. Thank you. With that, we'll close public comment. And we can entertain a motion.
can we talk about the emptiness of the dumpsters for a second? I want to make sure Mr. Hinckley knows that we appreciate his business and we respect his business and know he's done a great job and are confident he'll do a great job in the future. But it's our job to make sure the land's used right for years to come. So whatever we decide tonight applies to land long past our time here. So we have to make sure we're saying, taking care of neighborhood, right? So having said that, I think it might be nice if we add a condition just stating something along the lines that dumpster stored on property must be empty.
Are you making a motion with that condition?
If there's no further discussion, anyone?
Okay.
Sounds great to me.
Sounds
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. And then, let me go my page. I'd like to make a motion that the Planning Commission approve a conditional use permit to allow the storage of refuge containers at the property address 4540 South, 200 West, subject to conditions 1 through 3, plus a fourth condition stating the containers must remain empty
Very good. So we have
on property.
we have a motion from Commissioner Malkiewicz that the Planning Commission approve a conditional use permit to allow the storage of refuse containers at the property address at 4540 South, 200 West, subject to the three conditions which are provided in the in this write-up, and an additional fourth condition, which would be that the containers must be empty from garbage or refuse. Is there a second for this motion?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second by Commissioner Patterson. Seth, will you do a roll call vote? Or Jared, do you want to do it this time?
We didn't brief Seth on.
All
on
right,
doing
Jared,
it, so-
we'll let you.
Ms. Milkevich,
Yes.
Ms. Patterson,
Yes.
Mr. Nay,
Yes.
Mr. Pearson,
Yes.
Mr. Richards,
Yes.
Mr. Hacker, and Chair Lowry.
I will abstain.
You're abstaining. I should have known that.
I'll
Thank you.
abstain. It's fine. Good deal. So motion has passed. Thank you for your time and best of luck with your business. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, very good. We will move on to agenda number 5. This is a conditional use permit to allow a wedding venue business at 5412 South, 900 East. Is the applicant here? Very good. Seth Rios will provide a presentation, and then we'll hear from the applicant.
So the proposed use of a wedding reception center is here at this shopping. It's like a retail center at this address. It's one unit in a much bigger center, like I said. They're seeking a conditional use to be able to use it as a wedding reception center. This business would only operate on Saturdays from 3 to 11. That's what the applicant has stated. The only day that they would be doing things at the reception center. So it'd be things like weddings, quinceañeras, anything that would require a reception center. I would only have one employee and be closed the rest of the week. It's located in the CD commercial district zone. 900 East is mostly commercial and general office, so it fits the rest of the surrounding area as well. They're planning on doing some minor changes on the inside, just things like adding a vestibule and that type of thing. Nothing really major, no major remodeling going on in that building. And kind of similar to the last item, the issue with this property is just the landscaping does not conform with current code. It has some things there, like I've shown here in these pictures, a couple big trees in the landscaping frontage. Not really much on this side, but staff is recommending approval of the conditional use based on these conditions that are listed here, mainly being that they bring the landscaping into compliance with current code and that they provide documentation that there's enough parking, which is 22 stalls. So.
Very good. Are there any questions from the commission for staff?
Just a point of clarification. This business, when it becomes successful and she wants to be open for 4 or 5 additional days of the week, there's nothing to preclude her from doing that, correct?
No, that's just something that she stated whenever we spoke on the phone. Yeah, she would be able to operate like normal.
So there's no limitations. As long as she's within her normal hours of operation, she's fine to do whatever. Okay.
So then can I have a follow-up question, Mr. Nay? What are have we defined the normal hours of operation? Are they only 3 to 11, or what is, or?
Yeah, there's not any limit for hours of operation in the CD zone.
There aren't many midnight weddings. You know, maybe it goes till midnight, but you're not getting started at 2 in the morning.
No, but
There's also fast food places in that same parking lot that I believe are open 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
so I guess what I'm asking, because I've been to weddings that last past 11 o'clock at night. You know, are we okay with that as a commission if the party goes to 4 on Thursday night, 4 in the morning?
There, I mean, the closest residential is a little ways north. The rest of it's in a shopping center, so it wouldn't be disrupting too many neighbors.
They would have to conform with any noise ordinances, and if there were complaints, they'd be
Mhm.
dealt with by the appropriate officials.
Yes.
I don't see any difference from them having a wedding at 2 o'clock in the morning or a Walmart being open at 2
Yeah.
o'clock in the morning.
I agree with you.
Several of the other property owner or businesses there are open 24/7 anyway.
Yeah.
Walgreens,
EOS.
the gym.
What is that? It sounds like it makes sense. What are the sound ordinances in that area? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, so I'll let Jared answer.
Am I safe in assuming they would address any concerns?
That's in a different code. That's in a different part of our code. Our Title 17 doesn't actually deal with sound. It's in our nuisance code, and we mirror the county health regs. So you can't make too loud of noises for extended periods of time or after 10 p.m. or before 6 a.m. So that would be the only, that it would be dealt with not through the zoning, basically. So if you do have concerns about hours of operation for a business because you think it's going to be loud and irritate neighbors or something like that, that's when you do have the ability through conditional use to say, we're going to mitigate this impact, and to deal with it, we're going to limit your hours of operation. If you don't have a reason to, I wouldn't suggest doing it.
It doesn't appear to be a reason.
Any other questions for staff? Okay, with that, we'll invite the applicant to come forward, and we'd like you to invite you to state your name, your address, and please feel free to elaborate on the application and ask any questions.
My name is Fernando Peralta. I live in 7900 South and 3400 West in West Jordan. Well, the only question that we have is again about the landscaping. So our business, we don't have a frontage actually to the landscaping. And the picture shows the Gandolfos, and over the north side is, I think it's yeah, that's the Gandolfos. And over the Wood Lane, I think there is another business. It's Needles. What is the name? Needles? Yeah. So I don't know if that landscaping requirement still applies to us.
We'll be happy to address that. Happy to address that. Do you have anything else that you'd like to elaborate on what your business will be, what you'll be doing there, or anything you'd like to present to the commission?
Well, like he said, that we are planning to do weddings, mostly weddings. Sometimes we do baby showers or things like that, but most of the time it's weddings. I heard their concerns about the time. We never go past 11 midnight. We don't do that because we have to pay more to the people, and it's the catering people, the people that brings the decoration, all that stuff. So nobody wants to work at that late. I know there are parties that go late, but I know most of the reception centers in the valley, and most of them, if not all of them, they are trying to close at 11.
Understood. Understood. Seth, could you go back? Could you take it back to the slide about the conditions? Have you had an opportunity to review these conditions, the 3 conditions that have?
Yeah.
Will you be able to comply with them?
Yeah, all of them. The only thing is the landscaping. About the parking, we have in the back 30 parking spots. Over the side we have 15, and on the front I think it's 25. So we have plenty. I mean, if it shows in the picture.
Yep.
Plenty.
Yeah, we agree. Are there any questions for the applicant from the commission? Very good. So Seth or Jared, I think it would be a great idea for us to address to address this question. But with that, if you'd like to take a seat, we appreciate your time.
So I pulled up this picture because it kind of shows the parcel as it is. It's one owner, and we're not just looking at the one unit because the owner owns the whole parcel. It's one parcel with several properties on it. So the parcel itself, as you see with the blue lines, does have landscaping frontage because it goes right up to 900 East and right up to Wood Oak Lane. So that's why it's required. Also, the conditional use, we kind of talked about it in the work meeting, but it's the only time that the city really has to ask owners to bring their landscaping into compliance. Like we said, the law might have been different when it was built, but now it requires a certain amount of trees and shrubs and things like that, and that's why this requirement is being asked now, just because it's a conditional use. So I don't know if I answered.
So Seth, you're saying that it's not up to the applicant and the property owner, that he needs to work with the property owner to get the landscaping updated. It's not only on the applicant to update all of this landscaping.
Yes, yeah, that's actually one of the conditions. It states to work with the owner to bring this property into compliance. I don't know what's doing.
And this would be a requirement of any conditional permit that
Mhm.
came onto this property, regardless of where it is in the complex, because it's a conditional use permit. They have to come into compliance.
Yeah, this is any conditional use, no matter what the use is. If it's not in compliance, and it has to be brought up to standard.
Have we shared with the applicant the items that need to be brought up to standards so they're aware of those items?
Yes, it's in the, I believe it's in the staff report.
There's a little chart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, did you want me to read them off right now?
I think it'd be a good
Okay.
idea for public record.
So there's a requirement for each side. So a requirement on 900 East and on Wood Oak Lane. It's required to have 23 trees on 900 East, 38 5-gallon shrubs, 75 1-gallon shrubs. And then on Wood Oak Lane, there's required 9 trees, 15 5-gallon shrubs, and 30 1-gallon shrubs. And that's just because the distance of frontage that there is on the property. So that's where we got that number from.
Very good. That complies with our ordinances.
Yep.
Very good. Are there other questions for staff?
Oh, I did want to mention too, before, the applicant is supposed to apply with the building division for a change of use before they get a business license. I just wanted to mention that.
Understood. Very good. Seth, thank you for your report. We appreciate it. I believe, yes,
Mr. Chair, I have a quick question.
absolutely, yeah.
Should we consult with the applicant and make sure that he can still comply, or did he already know that it does not change the discussion?
I think that public comment, I'm reading some body language. I think public comment might be appropriate at this time, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if you're the building owner or not. So I think opening a public comment would probably be appropriate at this time.
My name is Richard Forsyth. Our address is 563 West, 500 South, Suite 260 in Bountiful. We are the property management agent for the owner, which is Oakwood 900 Partners out of Southern California. We were not aware of this ordinance, so this came as a surprise to my client. I cannot authorize this. My client has to. And so I have to go back to him with whatever your decision is and tell him. I read this information a little bit differently. I understood from what I had read that there were 7 trees on Wood Oak Lane, 5400 South, and that you wanted 9. I think I just heard 15. Was that right, Seth?
No, 15.
Okay. Okay. Now, there is a building west of Nuttall Sewing Center that does not belong to us. That's another ownership altogether. Are they also required to have shrubbery?
So the answer to that question is this is the current code and ordinance. And so any building, any property that is leased out into for an applicant that would need a conditional use would be required to come up to the standards of the current code. So if they were to have an applicant to come and they would have someone come and lease space from them, and they needed a conditional use permit approved, the same standards would apply to them.
Okay, so this is a large portion of our shopping center. It's approximately 6,000 to 7,000 square feet. I have some other locations in the property that are vacant. One about 2,000 square feet towards the south end of the property where Big Lots is at. If someone were to come in and ask for a conditional permit on that, would the same requirements apply?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
And yet we have leased premises out there on the last couple of years and never been exposed to this. I don't understand that. Sure.
Yep, we'll let Jared.
I'll yield it back to you if you want it for a second. But it's just a real simple distinction. So I'm going to use the Gandolfos as an example. That I don't remember what it was before it was Gandolfos, but I know it wasn't Gandolfos.
Flame burger.
Thank you. And it was something else before that. It's been something else different. A lot of places will change hands, and when all it requires is a business license because the use is a straight, permitted by right use, then this ordinance doesn't kick in. The 1768 chapter doesn't have to be met because it's just a business license. It's when you have to ask the Planning Commission for a special approval, like a conditional use, a special entitlement, that this ordinance gets applied. So that's like the wedding reception. If it were a different kind of use, it may not happen. And once it happens, it doesn't have to happen again. We don't ask for an additional 7 trees on Oakwood or whatever. Once it meets the requirement, it meets it, and a conditional use comes in, and all we do is review the parking or whatever, and make sure that it's usable. So
Prior to this use that we're talking about, there was a computer store there, and that was some years ago. Prior to that, there was a rack goods or a clothing store. Those would not require this. They were permitted uses. Okay, well then I'll have to go back to my client with whatever the decision is, and we'll go from there.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Is there any additional public comment at this time? Okay, I think we can close the public comment. I'd like to invite the applicant to come back up to the podium at this time. If you had a comment for us.
I'm sorry.
Did you have a comment for us?
Well, I guess our only option will be just to plant those trees and whatever it takes. I mean, we have been dealing with this for the last, I think, 3 or 4 months. We are almost to that. I mean, the actual leaser is he was about to give up, like just forget it. But I was able to talk to her and say, hey, let's do this. I guess our only option is just do it.
So
I don't know if the landlord is gonna approve it, to be honest. Probably no. Landlords most of the time, they don't want to spend anything, Most of them, especially a corporation, It's just a corporation. There is no person to talk to. By the way, he's very nice. He's very helpful. But he just works for the corporation,
Sure.
So yeah, I guess we have to do it.
So you're willing to comply then?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at 9th East here and the mature trees, and it's saying they need to put 16 trees there. Maybe I'm missing all the space. I know that the code requires, between certain footage, but with mature trees, that makes that scenario a little harder.
I mean, I think they can work with staff to
Yeah,
figure
yeah.
out how to meet their requirements.
Yeah.
I don't know if Seth's number is just the straight number or if it's the number less the trees that are already there.
No, it's just a straight.
Okay, so it'll be less than trees that are there. And 3 trees per 100 feet is 30 feet on center. That's kind of
Yeah,
like
okay.
the industry standard of how you
Yeah,
space trees.
That's
They don't have to be spaced out. They can be clumped together for signage.
There's also different types of ornamental trees or smaller trees that don't grow to be as large as these pines, because these are very large pine trees here.
There are. I just know that, sometimes it can look not as good planting too many together. So anyway.
So another question would be, these trees, I presume, would be planted the length of our property, clear down to the Marco's Pizza location. So spread them out 23 in that distance. Or, as you just said, clump them together.
Could be. Yeah. And I think the key element is staff will work with you.
Yeah.
Assuming the application's approved, staff would work with you to help you to understand what's needed to comply. Appreciated. Yep, that's what we'd appreciate as well. Good deal. Unless you have anything else to add, is there any questions for the applicant?
No.
Okay, we'll let you have a seat then. Thank you so much for being here.
I just want to make general comments. So we hear these come up with most conditional use permits, especially when it's on a larger parcel of property. This is a very large parcel of property, and it does become limiting to the property owner over time if they choose not to comply with the conditions, because there are businesses such as this that are going to be viable businesses that occupy space and provide income to the property owner. So really, the property owner needs to see this as an investment in their property and recognize that this will help long term with their lease rates and maintaining the quality of the development that they already have there.
Any other discussion amongst the commission? Okay. I think we can officially close public comment at this point. At this point, unless there's other discussion, I think we could entertain a motion if there's interest in one.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I make a motion that the Planning Commission approve a conditional use permit to allow a wedding reception center at the property address 5412 South and 900 East, subject to conditions 1 through 3.
Thank you. We have a motion made by Commissioner Ney. The Planning Commission approves a conditional use permit to allow a wedding reception center at the property address 5412 South 900 East, subject to the three conditions. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second by Commissioner Richards. Seth, would you mind doing or Susan, will you do a roll call vote for us?
Was the motion by?
Nay.
Mr. Nay.
Okay,
Commissioner Nay.
okay, thank you. Mr. Nay,
Yes.
Ms. McCavich,
Yes.
and Mr. Pearson,
Yeah. Yes.
Ms. Patterson,
Yes.
Mr. Richards,
Yes.
Mr. Hacker,
Yes.
and Chair Lowry.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't get in the right order there.
Very good. So this has been approved. We wish you best of luck with your business and thank you for coming down. Thank you very much. All right. Moving on to item number 6. This is Erickson Place subdivision amendment. Susan Nixon will be doing the presentation.
Thank you. You've seen these properties a couple of times over the years. The property's address of 5817, 5825, and 5837 South Majestic Pine Drive. The City Council recently approved a zone change for the back parcels that do not have frontage on Majestic Pine Drive from RM10 to R18 a couple months ago, with the intent that the owners would come back and consolidate the lots and amend the subdivision, which now brings us to this application. So the properties are currently zoned R18, as shown in the map. Here's a couple of photos of the home. There are 2 homes, one home on lot 14 and one home on lot 12. And then the property that is in between the two is vacant and is the vacant property there. And they are wanting to eventually sell it to someone. Their intent is to combine the 2 properties that are shown in the red and the 2 that are just to the right also. The red arrows show that the sections of the property that will be combined. So lot 13 will be combined with the back parcel, and lot 14 will be combined with that back parcel also. And then they will eventually sell lot 13. So all of the lots meet and exceed by far the minimums for 8,000 square feet and the setbacks in the R18 zone. And this change does not bring anything out of compliance. Everything would meet and exceed the minimum standards. So state law, state Utah Code 109A 608 2AI does allow for property owners to amend subdivisions by way of deed and going through this approval process, and they do not have to record a plat. We did send out notices to all the neighbors within 300 feet, and there was only one inquiry, just calling to clarify what the proposal was for. And with that, we have found that this application meets the subdivision regulations and meets the lot consolidation and boundary line adjustments in the R18 zone, and also meets the regulations of Title 16 and State Code 109A, and also is in compliance with the R18 zoning. So staff is recommending that that the Planning Commission review and approve this proposal for the Erickson Place subdivision to amend the boundary lines and combine the properties for lots 12, 13, and 14, subject to the conditions outlined in the staff report.
Thank you for your report. Are there any questions for staff from the commission? Okay. We'll invite the applicant, Ms. Hanson, to come forward. Please state your name and your address, and feel free to make any additional comments or presentation about this. You're good.
Sorry. My name is Karen Hansen. I live at 5837 Majestic Pine Drive. We have, we own the one property, and our back property has never been quite in compliant to what Susan would like, and we are now going to make Susan very happy. We're going to tie everything up with a bow, and we are moving some lot lines so that the people that built our house before So when we sell the lot, won't come back and say, we want you to move your driveway or a couple of things. And we're like, hey, no, so now we own it, so we don't have to. So that's all.
Good. You've reviewed the conditions above?
Do they tell me what I need to?
You'll be able to, will you be able to meet them?
Of course.
Okay, very
We
good.
do anything Susan wants us to do.
Yeah, I just want to point out this is being recorded. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Are there any questions or comments from the commission for the applicant? They should have asked before she sat down. Okay, we'll open it for public comment. Susan, is there anything that's come in on via no electronic? Okay, seeing none, I think we can close the public comment section and bring it back to the commission if there's any questions or comments or any discussion. I think Susan might prefer a fifth item on there that anything she asked. But is there a motion? Is there anyone who would like to make a motion on this application?
Chair, oh yeah, go.
I'll make a motion.
Very
I'd like to make a motion that the commission approve proposed subdivision amendment for Erickson Place subdivision, amending the boundary lines and combining of properties between lot 12, 13, and 14 for the properties addressed 5817, 5825, and 5837 South Majestic Pine Drive, respectively, subject to the 4 conditions listed.
Very good. We have a motion made by Commissioner Richards to approve the proposed subdivision amendment for Erickson Place subdivision, amending the boundary lines and combine the properties of lots 12, 13, and 14 for the properties addressed at 5817, 5825, and 5837 South Majestic Pine Drive, respectively, subject to the following to the 4 conditions. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's seconded by Commissioner Pearson, and we'll do a voice vote or a roll call vote.
Okay. Mr. Pearson
Yes.
and Mr. Richards,
Yes.
Mr. Ney,
Yes.
Ms. McKevich,
Yes.
Ms. Patterson,
Yes.
Mr. Hacker. And Chair Lowry.
I'll abstain.
Okay.
So the motion is passed, and good luck with your project. Thank you for coming down. Appreciate it. All right. With that, we'll move on to item number 7, which is Ridge Creek Subdivision Amendment. Is the applicant present? I'm assuming. Welcome. We're going to hear a presentation from staff, and then we'll invite the applicant to come forward.
This is almost the identical of the previous one, just different properties. So the property is located at 5753 South Ridge Creek Road, and the back parcel, as you can see on the map, was recently rezoned from A1 to R18, with the intent that this property would be combined later. So it's gone through the zone change, and now we're back to combine the 2 parcels and amend the subdivision. And it's obviously R18. Here's some photos, your summer and winter versions. No sense going back out and traipsing through the snow again. So the home fronts on Ridge Creek Drive, and then the back parcel is actually previously part of the Bradley subdivision. And we have taken that off of that subdivision, so it is amending Bradley subdivision, the boundaries of that, and amending the Ridge Creek subdivision by adding this small parcel of 2,500 square feet. And that is the survey of the property. 0.288 acres was be 12,548 square feet with the combination. The minimum area is 8,000 square feet for the R18 zone, and the A1, the previous property of the Bradley subdivision, is still A1, and that it requires a minimum 1 acre. So as you can see on this the screen up above, the properties both far exceed the minimums as far as area and also as far as the setbacks. So it will remain in compliance. And we did send out notices to all the neighbors. We did not receive any inquiries. Staff has found the findings for this application that it meets the subdivision code per Utah State Code, Section 10.9A, and that the proposed lot parcel consolidation complies with the R18 and the A1 regulations respectively. And then also that it does meet the subdivision amendments of Title 16, which is the subdivision code, and also R18, Title 17-100, and Title 1792 of the A1. So staff is recommending that the Planning Commission review this and approve this as proposed with the 4 conditions as outlined.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. Are there questions for Susan from the commission? Okay, thank you very much. I think we'll invite the applicant to come forward. Please remember to state your name and your address for the record, and please feel free to share any additional comments you have or presentation.
For sure. Hey, good evening, members of the commission. My name is Sam Johnston, and I'm representing my parents, Clark and Susan Johnston. Clark is here, and they reside at 5753 South Ridge Creek Road. I reside at 350 West Pierpont Avenue in Salt Lake City, Utah. This parcel behind my folks' house, we've lived there. Well, my family built the house in 1987 or 1988, I believe, and they've lived there ever since. This subdivision sits along, true to the name of the road, it sits along a ridge. It's quite steep. And the ridge is kind of going down to the creek down below, and it's quite wild. And for whatever reason, when the subdivision was drawn up, there's this little lip of property all along the ridge line that has always belonged to the property owners below rather than above. And consequently, the property owners down below, they have no way of accessing this little lip of property because the ridge is so steep. And the property owners above, my family has always kind of wanted to do something with it, but obviously never has been able to. And after many years of asking the property owners down below to sell us this parcel, we've finally gotten someone to agree. And so we have purchased this small triangular portion behind the original parcel. And by quitclaim deed, that deed's been recorded. And we also have prepared the warranty deed to deed the 2 properties back to the same ownership in order to accomplish the consolidation, and that will be recorded tomorrow. And you know, my mother's got a lovely garden back there and kind of wants to just keep it wild and beautiful in this new parcel as well. So that's why we're here.
Great, thank you. Appreciate you getting here.
Thank you.
Before you go, have you reviewed the 4 conditions?
Yes, I have.
Will you be able to comply with them?
Yes, we will.
Good. Are there any questions for the applicant from the commission? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Very good. I think at this point we can open for public comment if there's any. And Susan, is there any that's coming through electronically? Okay. Seeing none, I think we can close the public comment, and we can open this for discussion. And if there's no discussion, a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
That the Planning Commission approve the proposed subdivision amendment for lot 16 of the Ridge Creek subdivision and the 2,540 square foot parcel of lot 1 of the Bradley Development Subdivision 2. Amendment allowing the 2 properties to be combined for the address 5753 South Ridge Creek Road, subject to the following conditions 1 through 4.
We have a motion made by Commissioner Hacker to approve the proposed subdivision amendment for lot 16 of Ridge Creek subdivision and a 2,540 square foot parcel of lot 1 of the Bradley Development Subdivision, second amended, allowing the 2 properties to combine for the address 5753 South Ridge Creek Road, subject to the 4 conditions provided. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Milkevich will second. Susan, could we do a roll call vote?
Yes, Mr. Hacker.
Yes.
Ms. Milkevich.
Yes.
Mr. Nave.
Yes.
Mr. Pearson.
Yes.
Ms. Patterson.
Yes.
Mr. Richards.
Yes.
And Chair Lowry.
Yes. Very good. The motion is passed. Thank you very much for coming and best luck with your project and with the garden. All right. That's the end of our business. Unless any other commissioners have any additional business, I would will allow for a motion to oh,
I have
yes.
one item. of
Okay,
business.
staff.
I think
Susan.
most of you know that Jared Hall is now our new director, Community and Economic Development Director for the department. Yay. So, kudos to him.
I'm going
I
to
think
sit here from now on, I guess. I'm going to take up as much space on the bench.
Can I ask the staff a question?
Yeah.
And congratulations, Mr. Hall. And then how's our new city hall coming along?
There is a fun, it's coming pretty well. We're still planning, they're telling us that March next year we'll be in City Hall. So the new City Hall is coming along great. There's a video that I got this morning that shows kind of a walkthrough of the building, and things are coming along great. So
Is that a walk through the future building or the current
no,
building?
well, it's walking through it's not the future, it's walking through the current construction. So it's pretty fun to see them coming along though.
Who has access to that?
Well,
Just go to Ice House. You
I
have
do.
a beautiful view of it.
and if I'm allowed to send it, I'll send it all to you, forward it so you can walk through and kind of see it. I think you'd be able to, but I don't know. I'll make sure it's okay with somebody. I don't want to get in trouble on my first week. So make sure that's good first.
Awesome.
And we have some, just by way of information coming forward, we have a few applications not fully made yet, but that are clearly going to be made in the spring and late spring here in both the MCMU zone, the MCCD zone, and the TOD zone. So
Yes.
buckle up for the
What is
summer.
there to develop?
Yeah, all three. So there you go.
All right. Thank you very much. Any other items or questions? And congratulations officially. We have a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn at 7:28.
All right. We have a
PM.
motion from Commissioner Nay to adjourn at 7:28. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Richards. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We're adjourned. Thank you.
So they're